All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to How to Simplify Every Area of Your Mom Life. So I've done a couple of videos and webinars and classes about this before, and this was a little bit different. I wanted to kind of switch it up because, maybe you're new, maybe you've never seen or heard anything about this whole simplifying movement. Maybe you have, maybe you've done some courses, maybe you've been to the other lives or the other webinars that I've done, but this one is very special to me. It's very different. I went kind of a different direction. Usually when I do these webinars with you, I have like PowerPoint slides and I like those. I like the visual aspect of it, but I wanted this one to be a little bit different where I'm actually talking to you. I took notes on a giant sticky note, so this is what I'm going to go over with you today on how you can actually simplify your mom life, okay? So this class is specifically for moms who are wanting to kind of get a grip on their days, okay? A lot of what we talk about in our group in the Motherhood Simplified community is centered around decluttering and getting rid of your stuff and simplifying things like the amount of laundry that you have, downsizing the amount of toys that you have, dishes, just general things like more of the physical, tangible things in your home. And this one is focused kind of more on everything else. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about my story. Maybe you know some of it, maybe you know none of it, maybe you know a lot of it, but I think what I'm going to tell you today is part of my story that a lot of you guys don't know. Or that I haven't really shared in this way before. And like I said, I want this to be kind of a different class that we haven't done before. So back in the day, before we decluttered our home, my life was very overwhelming. Okay, it was not fun. I felt very isolated. I felt very out of control. I felt very much so that I was basically a slave to my family. I was a glorified roommate to my husband. I was just the person who did all of the things that honestly anybody could have done, okay? And when I say that, what I mean is that I felt like my role as a mom was to cook and clean and take the kids back and forth from school and go to work. And I felt like that was something that anybody could do. I could hire a housekeeper. I could, I could go through the drive-through and have food made for us. I felt like nothing that I was doing was really special. Not special, but I didn't feel connected to it. I did not feel connected to my role as a mother. It felt very surface. It felt very much like I was just trying to survive. It felt like if I wasn't around doing these things, it wouldn't be such a big deal because I wasn't really doing a great job at it anyway. And anybody can clean a house and anybody can make a meal, right? And so I felt very replaceable. I felt very disconnected to my family, disconnected to my role as a mom and my role as a wife. And it really sucked, okay? Just keeping it real, it really sucked. It was not a good time in my life. And it was kind of my crash landing into motherhood, okay? It's very different from the way that I feel about it now, where I actually do feel very proud of my role as a mom. And I do know that what I offer my family is important and it is valuable and it is unique. And I enjoy it. I really do enjoy it. And so that's kind of what this class today is about, is learning how to simplify everything around you so that you can focus on those things, okay? I have a whole bunch of notes on here for you. So we're going to talk about a lot of different things today. We're going to talk about your mindset, how you can simplify your mindset. We're going to talk about how you can simplify and take ownership of your role as a mother. We're going to talk about simplifying your relationships, simplifying your time, simplifying your home management, simplifying your self-care, simplifying your fitness and nutrition and your kind of physical body, because we are physical beings who need to be healthy physically if we want to be able to do all of this other stuff. And then I'm going to give you some homework. Maybe some homework that you have to do. Okay, and when I say homework, I don't mean I'm going to be like checking in on you. I'm not giving you deadlines, but I am going to give you some action steps and some things that you can do to start simplifying your life and to maybe stop feeling some of the ways that you're feeling, okay? So when you're watching this, put in the comments, put in the chat, how you feel about your mom life right now. Okay, are you overwhelmed? Are you looking to simplify it? Do you feel disconnected? You know, what is it that you're feeling? And what are you wanting to get out of this class? Because I do take your comments to heart. I do read them. I do use them for future posts so that I can help you, okay? Everything that I do, everything that I ever create is meant to help you, and I can help you best when you tell me how you need help, okay? So as we go through, put in the chat, put in the comments, you know, what's going through your mind, what you think about it, so that we can really make this work for you. Okay. I'm going to start by going through each of these topics. I've got notes on them. I'm going to talk to you about a lot of different topics. So if you haven't already, it would be a really good idea to get a pen and a paper and take some notes on this, okay? Because it's going to be a lot of information. It's going to go pretty quickly. But let's just get right started. So let's talk about simplifying your mindset. And I like to start with simplifying your mindset because our mindset is really what carries us through our days. Okay, if we wake up on the wrong side of the bed, you know, in a bad mood, everything starts to go wrong. And then we kind of ride that momentum for the rest of the day, right? Like everything's going wrong, everything sucks, everything's horrible. But when you can kind of simplify your mindset and start your days off on the right foot in a positive state of mind, your days are better. And so I want to talk to you real quick about kind of quieting the noise in your mind, and finding ways to kind of rewire your thought patterns so that you can get out of this like cycle of like, oh, I'm just a stay-at-home mom. You know, that sucks. You're not just a stay-at-home mom. You are a stay-at-home mom taking care of your family. Or like getting down on yourself like, oh, I'll never fit into my pre-baby clothes. You know, start rewiring your mindset and saying things like, I grew babies in my body and I am working every day to get back to a place that feels good for me. Or maybe you're like, I am a horrible housekeeper. My house is always a mess and I'm never going to get on top of it. How about I am listening and showing up to a video like this so that I can learn how to simplify things for myself and make it so that it's easier for me to manage my home, okay? You got to figure out ways to kind of rewire the way that you think instead of letting yourself get sucked into all of these negative thought patterns that are just kind of on autopilot, okay? Because that's kind of what happens. I don't know why, but our human mind is kind of, the default is to like jump to the worst case scenario. It's easy to think about all these horrible, mean, negative thoughts on autopilot. It's a little bit trickier to kind of train your mind to intentionally think positive things. And it's something that I've gotten very good at myself, sometimes almost too good, where like if something's not making me feel good, I'm like, get it out of my space. I'm going to flip it. I'm going to switch it. I don't want it in my space because I know that my life, the trajectory that I'm on, whichever direction I'm going, is directly because of the things that I'm thinking. So I am very, very mindful about rewiring my mind so that I, by default, think positively. And so I've done this in a lot of different ways. I've gone to therapy. You're probably like, oh, great. I'm not going to go to therapy. You don't have to. I listen to positive affirmations on YouTube. I read books about psychology and personal development and child development and different stages of life for parents. You can see one of my books right there called Soulful Simplicity. It's teaching me a lot. It's teaching me a lot about being mindful about my home and my space and my life and my relationships. And I am constantly seeking out these types of things to teach me how to rewire my brain. Okay, so, hey, Julie. So we're just talking about simplifying your mindset. So you got to just clear the noise. Okay, clear the noise. Find ways to rewire your mind. And when I say clear the noise, I mean things like be really mindful of what you're consuming on social media. Okay, so not only be mindful of like the thoughts and the things that you tell yourself, but be mindful of the stories that you read. Be mindful of the news that you follow. Be mindful of the groups that you're in and the comments that you're engaging in on Facebook. Or, hang on a second. I can mute you, Julie. So just be really mindful about the things that you think, the things that you say, and clear the noise about the things that you are consuming, okay? through social media, through the news, through your friends, through whatever it is. You got to put a really strong filter of what is actually coming into your mind, okay? So that is the first thing. We're going to simplify your mindset. And at the end, I want you to be taking notes on this, okay? Because at the end, I have some homework for you to do. It's going to be called The Wheel of Your Mom Life. But the next thing that we're going to talk about is simplifying your role as a mom. Okay. This is kind of a hard one for people, but you have to decide to be okay with whatever kind of mom you are. Okay. Whether you're a stay-at-home mom, a work-at-home mom, a work outside of the home mom, a single mom, whatever kind of mom you are, I think it's really easy for us to fall into this comparisonitis trap of like, I'm just a stay-at-home mom, okay? We say just a stay-at-home mom. I mean, no, you are a stay-at-home mom, and that is amazing. Or sometimes we feel bad because we're a working mom, and we're like, I am a working mom who's not home enough. I wish that I could be home more like these stay-at-home moms. Or maybe you're a work-from-home mom like me, who's like, man, it gets a little weird sometimes when I'm trying to work and be at home with my kids, and they don't understand why I have to lock myself in the bedroom and not play with them when we're at home, because this is home, okay? It doesn't matter what kind of mom you are. You have to decide what kind you are, and you have to be okay with it. Otherwise, you're never going to be happy. Once you come to peace with whatever kind of mom you are, everything gets so much easier, okay? And there's no right or wrong way to do it. You don't need to feel bad about it. I have done all kinds of momming. I've stayed at home. I have worked from home. I've worked outside of the home and put my kids in daycare. I have done all kinds. And the thing that I want to tell you about that is that I was really happy in all of those roles at some point, and I was also very unhappy with my role at some point. Okay, there were times when I was like, man, I love being a working mom. I love that I get to go do my own thing. And then there were times when I was like, I wish that I could just be a stay-at-home mom because I feel really guilty about not being with my kids enough. And there were times where I was like, man, I really love being a stay-at-home mom, but I'm kind of going crazy, not getting, having an outlet. By nature, from me and myself personally, I'm pretty competitive. I thrive on being productive and creating. And so for me, staying at home without having some sort of an outlet like I have now with the blog and the courses and doing things like this, I went stir crazy. And I felt really guilty about that because I was like, what kind of mom gets to stay home and feels guilty because she's not getting enough, mental stimulation, is what it was for me. And maybe you relate to that, maybe you don't. But my point is, the times that I was dissatisfied in my role as a mom was when I was letting outside influences get to me. So I would be like, man, I see all my friends staying at home and I'm working outside of the home for 8 to 10 hours a day. Maybe I should be more like them. And then I would feel bad. Okay. Or I would be, when I was a stay-at-home mom, I would see my working mom friends, or I would make friends with other stay-at-home moms, and I would feel really guilty because I was like, I'm not finding deep satisfaction in this like they are. And then I would feel really badly about myself. Only when I decided that, you know what, this is what I'm doing right now. This is the season of life that I'm in right now. This is how I have to live right now. And I am okay with that, is when I got happy. And it didn't matter if I was staying home or working outside of the home or working from home. I was happy with it when I decided this is my role and I'm good with it. That's when I got happy. Okay, so there's no right or wrong way. You have to simplify it for yourself. You have to pick what your role is. And if you're not happy staying at home, maybe that's your clue or your sign to go get a part-time job, or go start working full-time, or start a side business or something. Or if you're not happy working outside of the home, this is your time to dig deep and get a little creative about, what can I do to get myself out of the situation so that I can be working or be at home with my kids more? Okay. And I'm not going to talk too much about that because it's a conversation for a different day, but there's always a way. Okay. So don't just wave your white flag and be like, I guess this is my life now, because you're never going to be happy if you just wave your white flag and continue to complain. Okay. So that is that, simplifying your mom role and basically just taking ownership of it, whatever it is for you. Hey, Melissa. Hey, so Melissa, I'm just going to touch on this real quick too, because I know you've had all kinds of roles, but I think Melissa can agree with me when I say that waving your white flag in defeat and being like, I guess this is just my life. I have no control over it. I was talking about Melissa, stay-at-home moms, work from home moms, work at home moms. And I know you have direct experience with this. If you're not happy working outside of the home, there's always a way to figure out a different way to make the income that you need, or to get creative and find a different way. Or if you're not happy staying at home, which was something that was really hard for me to admit, I was not happy only staying at home. I needed a productive and creative outlet, which is this blog and these courses for me now. But if you're not satisfied, if you're feeling isolated, if you're feeling unfulfilled, it's totally okay to be like, I want something more, and figure out a way to make it happen. So I know Melissa popped on right at the perfect time, because she knows this and lives this so well. So the next part of motherhood that I want to talk about simplifying are your relationships. Okay, and I'm talking about friendships with other moms and having a community, and I'm talking about your romantic relationships, and I'm talking about relationships with your, hello, sweet baby, yes. And I'm talking about relationships with your family, like your parents or your cousins or your in-laws or any of those things. How to simplify that, okay? One of the things, maybe some of you guys can relate to this, but one of the things that I used to tell myself when I was really overwhelmed, when I was really, I've told this story before, what I think people would call depressed or having postpartum depression, when I didn't. I was just way too overwhelmed with no direction in my life. Okay, she's smashing the Play-Doh. What was I saying? Oh, I was so isolated and so overwhelmed and so down on myself all the time that I would say things like, I hate people, or I don't need friends because I'm an introvert, or I don't want mom friends because they're so dramatic and they just cause problems. And that's not true at all. Yes, I am very introverted, but I thrive on meaningful mom friendships, and I crave deep relationships and community around me, even as an introvert. And admitting that was kind of hard. Admitting it that I was the one cutting myself off from having good relationships, from having meaningful friendships with other women, was kind of hard to admit. Like, oh, maybe it's not everyone else who's the problem. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the one who needs to be a better friend. Was kind of hard to admit, but it's true. Okay, we need mom friends. We need community. And sometimes that means that we need to put ourselves out there. And sometimes that means we need to invite people over. And sometimes that means we need to put our egos aside and not talk about ourselves and ask about our friends and what's going on with their life, and not use our friends as just a way to complain or gossip or nag or talk about everything that's going wrong. Sometimes our behavior satisfies our stories. We love to be right. Yes. And I just was telling myself the wrong kind of story and continuing to cut myself off and isolate myself. And that sucked. Looking back, it sucked, but it was kind of just my defense mechanism, I guess. I don't know what it was, but I do know that I need mom friends, and I need women friends who get it and who are doing it with me. But yeah, sometimes it's, yeah, it just means that we have to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves, put ourselves out there, be positive. Okay. Be positive. Don't be that friend who's just complaining all the time, gossiping, bringing everybody down. That was me. That used to be me. And sometimes I even ask my husband, I'm like, man, how did you put up with me for so long? I used to be such a grump. I used to be such a nagger and a complainer, and nothing was ever fun or good or right or enough. And I was able to simplify our marriage by just kind of shifting my mindset into one of a way more positive one. Okay. And I'm very lucky that my husband and I, our relationship struggles have been pretty minor, pretty normal things that I think most things go through. And it's always been one that's centered around respect. And it's been pretty easy that way. But, simplifying your relationships and just being intentional and mindful about what you bring to the relationship and what you want, and being mindful of the type of friend that you want to be and the type of friends that you want to have. Okay. Now let's talk about time. Simplifying your time. I'll tell you one really great tip as a mom that you may have heard of and you may not have heard of. Now, when I heard about this thing called time blocking, I was like, wow, that sounds really cool, but probably only for people who are like business owners or employees or something like that. I didn't think that it was something that it could apply to my mom life. I was like, moms don't time block, but time blocking is probably one of the best things that a mom can learn how to do. I really hope that the camera was down low enough for that. Sorry, guys. Time block your time. That means dedicating certain times of day, certain times of the week, certain times of the month to focus on specific things. Because as moms, we are pulled in 1,000 million different directions all the time. Time blocking makes it so that we can focus on these really important things in our lives at specific times, and it just kind of holds us accountable and makes it so that we can be intentional and very, very focused. So it's really simple. I'm going to tell you guys about my most basic and easiest time blocks that you guys can understand, but that is my morning hour to an hour and a half for me and myself, and it's really what sets the tone for the rest of the day. So I have an hour to an hour and a half because I do have a little baby. It just depends on what time we actually get up, because some nights are worse than others, right? That's just how it is. But I have an hour where I spend journaling, reading, taking a shower, doing my hair, getting dressed, and focusing on me. That is my 1 hour where that's what I'm focused on. And then the next hour, I'm focused on getting the kids ready for school, packing their lunches, pouring into them so that they can go to school and have a good day. And then when I come home, I have a 3-hour time block where I am working. I'm focused on work. And I have lists that I'm, following throughout the day. And it doesn't mean that I'm like from 9 a.m. to noon, I am only working and everybody else is getting ignored. That's not what it means for moms, okay? It means that that's my time to focus, and that's my time to get as much of that done as I can possible. Because like I said, with a little baby, sometimes that just doesn't work. Hey, Shamra. It just doesn't work. So time and you dedicate it to focus on things. And if it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, no big deal. Well, not no big deal, but get as much as you can done possible. And it's, for me personally, with like time blocking, it's more of a psychological thing. It's like, I know, and Melissa, I've been doing what you talk about, like on Mondays, I focus on these things, Tuesdays, and it's been working really well. So that works really well for me. So I know like on Thursdays I copied you. I'm doing Thinking Thursday too. That's my day to read my book. Okay. That's what I'm focusing on. I really want to focus on something that like stimulates my mind and makes me feel like I'm improving and getting smarter and getting better at these things in my life that I want to be better at. And then you let it go until the next week. And so that's what I've been doing. I read some of my book. I feel really good about it. I did it from my 9 to 12 time block. Even though today was a little bit crazy, I did get my 10 minutes in within those 3 hours of like, that's what I want to focus on today, and got it done. And then like Melissa said, yesterday, there were some things that I didn't get done, and I'm not going to try and redo it until my next time block for it next week. And it's just kind of freeing, because as moms, it's kind of like just tying up your loose ends. Like, we have so many different directions and so many open ends that tying them up and finishing them and knowing that you get to try again at the next time block is just really reassuring. So I hope that I'm like explaining that okay. If you guys have more questions about it, just let me know. And then when you do your time blocking, whenever you're picking the time that you want to focus on this, you're picking the day that you want to focus on it, eliminate your distractions, okay? We have phones they're gifts and they are a curse. They're a blessing and a curse. They can single-handedly like completely derail our plans. So when you have these blocks of like, okay, for this hour on this day, I'm going to focus heavily on reading my book. Maybe you don't get to read for that full hour, but if you have your phone out and are super distracted by Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, whoever's calling you or texting you or whatever else you can get distracted by, Netflix, it's not going to be as impactful. So just be really mindful about eliminating your distractions so that you can focus on the things that you're wanting to focus on. And I think as moms, it's really easy for us to get distracted because nobody's holding us accountable. And when we are going in so many directions, it's so appealing and we want to like kind of escape and get a break. And that's what our phones can be for us, kind of this respite, but they can also be our downfall. So just be really mindful of that and eliminate those distractions. Love reading for Thinking Thursday. Hey, good, use it. And tomorrow, Shamrock, I'm going to mail you that book. Okay, so let's talk about simplifying your home management. So when I say your home management, I'm talking about things like cleaning, laundry, dishes, toys, making the beds, all those things. So if you know anything about the group, if you know anything about this blog, you know about anything that I've ever talked about, you know that I believe in decluttering and minimizing the amount of things that you actually have to manage. So that is key when it comes to managing your home, is decluttering, because everything in your home demands your attention in some way. Okay, it's demanding that you pay attention to it. It's demanding that you give it time or attention or energy. And if you think I'm making this up, let me just kind of explain it to you. So maybe you have a house that is full of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of toys, and you're like, but my kids play with them. That's true, they do play with them. But when you have so many toys and they're just throwing them all around, how much time of your day are you spending going behind your kids picking up all of those toys? Okay, you have to pay attention to every single toy. I'm about to have to hop off. Is this recorded? Yes, it is recorded. And I'll send out the replay because I know this is kind of a bad time for most people. Usually I do it in the mornings and that's a better time, but I will send out the replay. So yes, you have a bunch of toys and your kids play with the toys, but when you have too many, it ends up taking up too much of your time, too much of your attention. And the same is true for like the extra dishes, okay? We think that we're doing ourselves a favor by having so many extra dishes. And what ends up happening is that we have a sink full of dishes and dishes piled up to the sky and we can't keep up on it. It's demanding your attention, okay? Everything in your space demands your attention. So I really, truly believe in decluttering because it makes it so that you literally have less work, okay? A lot of times moms are like, if I declutter the clothes, I'm gonna have to do laundry more often, and you're not. And the thing, you know, if you have too many clothes, you're probably not able to keep up on it, and you're probably doing more laundry. Okay, more laundry means more clothes. Less clothes means less laundry. That's just how it works. It's like a weird psychological hurdle that a lot of us have to go through when we decide that we want to declutter, and just trusting that less clothes means less laundry. You will always have enough. You're never going to have to walk around naked. And from my personal experience in decluttering clothes, since we've decluttered and downsized the amount that we have, I've never had to do that trick where you're like, okay, we got to go somewhere. I'm going to pick the cleanest dirty clothes out of this pile for the kids because I am so far behind on laundry, right? We've all done it. And if you haven't, I mean, high five to you. But that used to be my life. And I used to think that I was doing us a favor by having so many clothes. But by having too many, I was really self-sabotaging and I didn't even realize that I was. So you got to declutter your home so that it's easier to manage. And then I do believe in lists, but lists are kind of tricky because sometimes you write down a goal list and we confuse it for a to-do list. So a goal list would be like clean the kitchen or declutter the kitchen. That's a goal list. You want to have the kitchen clean. A to-do list is clear the counters, disinfect the counters, do the dishes. Or maybe it's put the dishes in the dishwasher and wash the pots and pans. Like those are action steps. Those are lists that you can actually check off and do. Because when you have a list that says clean the kitchen and it's totally overwhelming to you, you're not going to get it done. And then you're going to feel bad because you didn't get it done. And then you're going to feel like you're lazy and you didn't do it and you're not a good housekeeper. And that's not true. You are just confusing a one big giant goal for a to-do list. And you just got to break it down into a smaller list that you can actually check off. Okay. So that is simplifying your home management by downsizing the amount of things that you actually have to manage and being consistent. Okay, that's the next thing I want to say. It's just be consistent. There are these tiny little things that you can do throughout the day on repeat to make your life easy. So some things that I like to tell you guys that I do, depending on the season that I'm in, is like I used to wake up. I'm not doing this anymore, so I wanted to tell you guys this too, that in the summertime, I would wake up, I would start a load of laundry, and I would walk downstairs and I would go work out. And doing that one load of laundry every day made it so that I didn't have laundry piles stacked up there at the house. And it made it so that we always have clean clothes. And right now, the season that I'm in, because the kids are back in school, I do all of the laundry on Sunday. So I have like 4 or 5 loads that I do on Sunday. Actually, it's probably more like 5 or 6 loads that I do on Sunday. And that's it. And just these little things that you can do on repeat. We talk about doing the nightly reset, which is like just going through your home and putting the toys back where they go, making sure that the dishes are in the dishwasher and the dishwasher is started so that in the morning you have clean dishes, clearing off the counters, laying out clothes for the next day so that instead of rushing frantically out the door to school, everything's just ready. Everything's just ready to go. These little things that you can do consistently over time to make your life easier. Okay. Making your bed every day makes it, your day is just so much easier, and being consistent with it. So, the next part of mom life that I want to talk about simplifying with you is simplifying your self-care. Okay. So self-care, when I first became a mom, especially after I had my second, was the most annoying word ever to me. It was so annoying. It was so frustrating because I was like, anytime that anybody tells me that I need to go do some self-care, can just go kick rocks, because clearly they don't know what it's like to be a mom. Clearly they don't know what my life is like. Clearly they don't know that I don't have the time for this. Clearly they don't know that I don't have a babysitter and I have a husband who works 14-hour days and I'm working full time and I'm on my own most of the time and I'm so burnt out that clearly they just don't know. Okay. And I was like, clearly these moms who are telling me to do this have nannies or $1 million or family that helps them or angel kids who don't ever mess anything up. Right. And that's not true. Okay. That's how I used to feel. Maybe you can relate. Maybe you're like, no, self-care is easy. But I think for moms, a lot of times it is hard for us because we do have so many moving parts of our lives that it's just hard to make the time for it. So if Melissa's still on, this is something else that Melissa is very good at. But when it comes to simplifying your self-care, I just kind of want to help you reframe the way that you think about it. Okay. Self-care is different from treat yourself. Okay. Self-care is doing these small, yes, Melissa is passionate about it. Self-care is, to me, is regularly doing these small things that fill my soul up and make me feel good and positive and keep me afloat. And it's not treat yourself. Okay, so I'm going to give you some examples. So for me, self-care is waking up before my kids and turning on a guided meditation and drinking my coffee hot before the kids wake up and need something from me, and taking a shower before they wake up so that I can feel clean, and getting dressed so that I can feel like I'm not dressed in clothes that are 3 days old and they stink. It is eating good food. It is going for a walk outside. It is listening to my favorite songs. It is creating communities. It's creating communities. It's looking at beautiful art. It's looking out into nature. It's reading a book. Maybe Melissa has some examples of what it is for her. It's turning on a YouTube video and doing a quick 10 or 15 minute workout because I don't have time to go to the gym. But it's these small, consistent things that I do on a regular basis to keep myself feeling good. Okay, and it's different from treat yourself. Okay, treat yourself is like, I'm gonna go spend $50 on a pedicure, or I'm gonna go spend 3 hours at the spa, or I'm gonna go on a weekend getaway by myself. Okay, that's treat yourself. Filling in my finance spreadsheet, yes, each week. These little things that just make us feel good. These things that make us feel even secure, like Melissa's talking about, filling in my finance spreadsheet, making us feel secure, making us feel like we can take ownership of our lives. Okay, stop feeling like we are victims to our lives and do things that feel good and make us continue to feel good. Okay. So just kind of shift your way. And I'll use Melissa, because she's on here, her vase analogy. Like if you imagine that you are, I hope I did this right. If you imagine that you are a vase, and as moms, we have so many different areas of our lives that we have to pour into. We have a vase, right? I can pour it into my kids. I can pour it into my husband. I can pour it into my career. I can do that, and then eventually I'm going to run out. But if I stand up tall and I pour things into myself, or by reading a book, by listening to music, by taking care of my body, by finding communities of women who support me and are like-minded, and listen to music that she stole it from Rachel Hollis. Okay, good. That's the book that I'm going to send to Chandler right now too. But when we pour into ourselves, we overflow naturally into the other areas of our lives. Okay, so that's really what self-care is just making sure that we are really focusing on making sure that we are happy, we are fulfilled, we are taken care of, even in the most basic ways, like Melissa said, in the most basic ways of like figuring out our finances. Okay, that can be self-care. Eating good foods, drinking water, okay, all of these things. So as moms, it's just a different game. Okay, we can't treat ourselves all the time like we want to or like we used to. Hey, come here. Okay, so let's talk about simplifying your fitness and nutrition, because we are physical beings who need to take care of our physical bodies as well through good food and water and daily exercise or some sort of a movement. So I think simplifying what fitness is as moms is really important. Okay, fitness for moms really is likely not going to be going to the gym for an hour anymore. Okay, an hour-long trip to the gym as a mom is no longer just an hour-long trip to the gym. An hour-long trip to the gym is finding a babysitter and paying for a babysitter and traveling and recovering from the traumatic experience that the kids had at the gym daycare. Okay, we have to kind of reframe it and rework it. And there's so many different ways that we can do this. YouTube. Come here. Getting outside. I've told you guys before that when we moved to Florida, my workouts were running down the sidewalk with my kids and doing pull-ups from the trees and push-ups on the sidewalk. Okay, and running in the field that was down the street from our house. Sometimes your fitness is just going to be getting outside or going for a walk or doing a YouTube video or an at-home yoga session, or finding a friend even who is like, hey, here are some yoga poses, because I have some yoga teacher friends. They'll be like, here's some yoga poses. You can do this. Or I got this book. Even the stiffest people can do the splits. And this has been my fitness, because my baby doesn't want me doing lots of workouts. Because as you can see, she's very much an 11-month-old who needs a lot of attention right now. And that's fine. So I figure out different ways to move my body in ways that feel good. And then I won't talk much about nutrition, but if you guys are interested in learning more about it, I do have a free download. It's called The Simplest Meal Plan Ever. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's totally customizable. It's like a plug and play grocery list, a plug and play meal plan for you and your family to really simplify it and start getting used to using staple ingredients so that you can simplify it, so that you know what's for dinner every night. So I will put that in the email for you guys so that you can have that copy of The Simplest Meal Plan Ever. Like I said, it's just a free, awesome resource that a lot of moms have had a lot of success with. So Melissa has done this before too, but I want to show you, these are my notes for today. This is, maybe you've seen it before, but this is the wheel of mom life. And I know you can't see it very well, but in the email that I send you out for the replay, I will send you a picture of it. So basically you have a wheel, okay? And I put the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different areas that we talked about today. Mindset, your mom role, your relationships, your time, your home, your self-care, and your fitness and nutrition. And you just put those around your circle. You put a line to each of those topics and you number it 1 through 10. So when you do this, I want you to rank how satisfied you are in that area of your life. So when we're talking about how satisfied are you with your personal relationships, you're going to rank yourself 1 through 10. And then you're going to mark it on this little line. I know it's hard to see. Maybe you can see it. So 1 is in the center of the circle, and then 10 is at the outside of the circle. And then you're going to rank yourself for how you feel about your time management. And then you're going to rank yourself for how you feel about your home management and all of these different areas. And it's going to help you focus on the areas that you feel like you're doing pretty well at. And it's going to give you some clarity on what areas you need to focus on. So maybe you're doing really, really great on your role as a mom. You know, you're feeling really good about it. You're like, I am a stay-at-home mom and I own that and I'm having so much fun with it. But I'm kind of struggling in finding, simplified fitness and nutrition. I'm struggling with knowing what's for dinner all the time. I'm struggling maybe with my mindset. Maybe I'm just not in a good place mentally and I don't feel good about the thoughts that I have about myself or the beliefs that I have, and I want to change that. It doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong answers, but I want to kind of let you know that once you rank those and you put in your dots, connect it. Okay, so you'll be able to see it in the pictures that I send you, but it's going to look probably kind of messed up. Okay, it's going to look a little bit janky. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word, but it's going to look messed up, okay, because you're not going to be completely balanced in these areas of your life. And the goal is to make it so that you can be balanced in all of these and have a wheel that spins easily, right? And the thing about wheels, I'm going to talk about physics with you guys for just a second, even though I suck at physics. That's the only class I ever failed in high school. But if your wheel is off balanced, you know how when a wheel spins, like the bike spins, if you have those little things on the inside of it, the spokes, once you start spinning the wheel, they all spread out to the outside of the tire. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you're like, okay, crazy lady, just sign off now. Just kidding. But once you start moving, the rest of those things, the spokes, the little dot, the things on the spokes, start spinning to the outside of the wheel. So that analogy works with this too, okay? All of these parts of the wheel work together. And when you start taking action to improve one area of these things, it naturally gets momentum building and starts improving the other things. So when you start taking action to simplify your mindset and kind of rewire your thoughts into ones that are more positive, it trickles into the other areas of your life. All of a sudden you feel better about your role as a mom. You feel better about your relationships. You feel better about your abilities to manage your time, okay? Or maybe you're like, I'm going to start trying to focus on managing my time better. When you start focusing on managing your time better, your home starts to get easier to take care of. It gets easier to know what's for dinner every night. It gets easier to make the time to pour into yourself and do your self-care. Okay, so is this making sense? Like they all work together. And if you build momentum in one of these areas and keep it going, it's going to trickle into all the other areas so that you can improve overall. There's a lot of layers. There's a lot of depth. But I do want to let you guys know too that I have, some of you guys are in it, some of you guys have done it, but I do have a course called Motherhood Simplified that walks you through exactly how to do all of this. So I'm going to share my screen with you real quick and then we will hang up, but I want to show it to you. And then actually I'm going to jump on a video and watch Melissa. Melissa's got a live coming up in just a minute too, but I built this course and we've had about 20 moms go through it so far as of, September 27th, 2018. And it's walking you through exactly how to simplify every single one of these areas of your life, okay? When we talk about simplifying your mindset, Here we go. How to declutter your mind. And when you go in here, I give you a written version. You get my notes on it. You get a video on it. And then you get homework on how to actually declutter your mind. And then you get to define or redefine your role as a mom. Simplify your expectations. And then I have a section on how to stop thinking and start doing, because as moms, we are so great at thinking and overthinking and planning and feeling stuck and never actually taking action and moving forward. So we start with that. And then we talk about how to simplify your relationships, how to make mom friends. And I even talk about how to be a good friend, and how to build communities in that, how to be a happy wife or a happy partner, if that is something that is a part of your life, how to simplify your time, getting your priorities clear so that you even know how to spend your time. Sometimes we're like, I don't even know what I'm doing with my time. So what the heck? Knowing the difference between the things you have to do and the things that you don't. And this is really a lot about asking for help. I talk to you way in depth about time blocking, okay? I'm gonna show you how to do this on Google Calendar, which is free. And as a mom is like a really, really great resource that I think we could all benefit from using, okay? I teach you how to time block. I teach you how to make a morning routine for you that works. I teach you how to make a nightly routine that works. I teach you how to make a cleaning routine so that you don't have to print off those Pinterest chore charts anymore, or those generic things that just don't work, okay? It's plug and play. It's super easy to do. And then, oh, the video is right there. Okay, so we talk about all of that in time. We talk about how to simplify your self-care and your soul care. And I have a bonus class in here that I did with Melissa Killily, who is on here right now. A bonus class on here that we recorded together. Journaling simplified so that you can learn how to journal. How to simplify your nutrition, the simplest meal plan ever. I put in here because it goes along with what we talk about in the video. How to simplify your fitness, and decluttering simplified, because I do believe in decluttering. This is not one of my decluttering courses, but I do believe in decluttering and wanted to give you guys some really good action steps for your decluttering journey. And then I have this bonus from my friend Joey, who is the owner of Earthy Herbs, and it's kind of just some really effective, it's just kind of a fun bonus. It's herbal remedies, homeopathic, essential oils, all those great things. She's got an herb shop that she runs herself. She makes salves and lotions and all kinds of good stuff, uses a lot of garlic for when the kids get sick. So we have that bonus in there as well. But I wanted to offer that to you. I wanted to get you in that. I am going to be launching that course again with a 2-week group coaching program coming up in a couple weeks. And we've already done our first round of it. Like I said, we've had about 20 moms who did it and loved it. It was really, really fun. It was really impactful. And I am excited to do it again. So if you are interested in doing that, I will be sending out the link with this replay so that you can join. I'm only going to be opening it up for a limited time before I close it, and I would love to have you guys in there. And if you have any questions about how to join or what that looks like, just let me know, and I will get it to you. So I think that is it for now. Let me stop the screen share. I will put it in actually, I'm not going to put it in the chat. I'm just going to send it in the replay, and I will see you all next time. Melissa, I'll see you in like 5 minutes. Bye.